Hello, everyone. Apparently, we had a bit of an issue there, but welcome to GDQ Hotfix. This is Perilous Paths. As always, we focus on challenging and adventurous speedruns. My name is Cutie. I am not on cam today because I'm a little bit under the weather, but hopefully, you are enjoying a lovely Yuletide animated thing that we did during Christmas, brought to you by our amazing friends Ray and LLK and all of the hard work they put in there. I think it looks fantastic. I love it. Hopefully, we expand on that next year. But let's talk about what we are doing today. First and foremost, it is Monday, so as always, check out the full schedule for the week at gdq.gg/hotfix or gamesdonequick.com/hotfix. Either of them works. It's a bit of a short week, not gonna lie to you, but it has some incredible bangers in there. Super Metroid, Hades 2, Hollow Knight Silksong, Claire Obscure, off of their recent many awards that they won, however many that came out to. So you're gonna want to check out all of those. But today we are focused on treasure and artifact hunting. We're leaning into that adventurous side. I've got my treasure hunting cap on. I know you can't see it, but it's there. Just picture it. So we are doing Deadfall Adventures any percent with Tenders and Gulch 2. We're doing Control any percent with Aleke and Ashley 930, by the way. These are going to be amazing runs. But before we get into it, we are in the middle of the holiday season. So wherever you are, whenever you are, whatever you celebrate, I do hope that you are having a wonderful series of holidays. And New Year's is coming up in just a couple of days. So I also wish all of you a happy New Year's. Be safe, be happy. You know, if you're like me, January 1st means cleaning your entire house, so I'm not really looking forward to it, but we're gonna do it anyways. But without further ado, let's get into our first run, which is Deadfall Adventures with Tenders and Gulch 2. How are the two of you doing today?
Well, thank you very much. I'm doing all right. I've got some Deadfall Adventures today, which has actually been taken under quite a bit of a lens in the last few, I would say, 3 or 4 months. So yeah, I'm very excited to show it off today.
Yeah, and I'm Gulch too. I ran this game a very little bit, and Tenders just completely took off running with it. So I'm excited for this showcase today. Thank you so much for having me.
I love how you're hovering over multiplayer, but that is not what we're gonna be doing. Yeah, whenever
Rough.
you're ready, give us a quick
Yeah.
countdown and we can get into it.
So I am going to really quickly start a new adventure. I'm going to set everything to easy. Now I'm gonna press start game, but it's not actually when the run starts. The run starts the moment I get control over my character, which is going to be after a really fast jeep ride through a small little sandy area in front of a temple. I'll count you down once we get control, and then we'll start running. Skip some cutscenes because who cares about those? We don't care about lore here. And then hopefully... Yep, alright. This is how we always ride jeeps here, by the way. This is normal.
Pedal to the metal.
Alright. Let's start in 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Look, have fun.
Thank you. So, Deadfall Adventures is based actually on I would say, a visual novel written all the way back in like the early 1900s. It's based off of the Alan Quatermain series. Now, if you've ever heard that name, it's quite a popular name in terms of usage. It's been used in a lot of movies. It's been used in a lot of novels. It's basically like this famous adventurer who has a lot of stories written about him, and we're playing as his great grandfather in this game. He's called James Lee Quatermain, if I remember correctly. It kind of looks like Indiana Jones. It is a little bit similar, but it's also going to be very different. This run is going to be very different than your standard adventure game. But now that I'm already running around, Gulch, would you maybe like to tell the people what I just grabbed off of the floor? Because I was just running around headless.
Yeah, so there are these secret treasures laying around the each of the individual maps. Ones that he just picked up is the treasure of life, which can be used to give you health upgrades, but more importantly, stamina. So that's going to be our main focus. We definitely try to route in as much of those treasure of life pickups as we can in order to get the most amount of stamina cooldown reduction and stamina just increase across the board.
Yeah. There's 3 different types in total. One is the silver ones that we just grabbed. Those are going to increase the health and the staminas. We got the golden ones, which basically increase our gun skill, I would say. It increases your fire rate, your reload speeds, all that type of jazz. And then you also have I would almost say it looks like toothpaste covered artifacts. They're blue and they're very bright. You're going to see them later, but they're going to be upgrading our flashlight. Don't ask me how artifacts upgrade your flashlight power. I don't know how it interacts with AA batteries. It just kind of does. A small little important thing that we're gonna needing is you can see our companion. Her name is Jennifer. We're basically going to be guiding her around a lot in this game. And she's going to be a big trigger for a lot of the important missions in this game. So finding a way to kite her in the right direction or make her sprint, which we're going to be doing at the end of this level, is going to be very important because I don't want her to walk. That's going to be too slow, and I have places to be.
Yeah,
So
we
we
were-
also just did our first puzzle, which I don't really consider to be a puzzle. You just scroll a wheel a couple times, but there is going to be a lot more.
Yeah, and here's one of
Well-
our upgrade stations here where Tendy's gonna upgrade his stamina.
Yeah,
The first instance.
we don't
so-
care about health.
Yeah, yeah. Even though the enemies can be pretty brutal in this game, they do not make things easy. There's a lot of gunfights where we have to be pretty cautious and take some cover in order to get out unscathed.
Yeah, a lot of the times when you're fighting enemies in this game, it isn't actually the gunfire that hurts. It's usually them punching you, which actually hurts quite a bit more than even a shotgun blast to the face will do. I don't know why, but it's just kind of how this game is developed. I think it actually does like universal damage, so every melee that you take basically puts you down to like critical HP range instantly. And it's in every single difficulty of this game. So even though we're playing on easy, it's not half as easy as you think. So right now we're doing a quick little, well, quick. This is probably one of the most annoyingly slow puzzles in the entire game. Would you mind explaining what we're doing right now?
Yeah, so there's these statues that are scattered around the room, and we essentially have to reposition these mirrors in the perfect position in order to light up those little blue dots in the back of the statue. So Tenders right there just took a quick peek to make sure those red sparks were coming off. That's how you know that it's actually connecting to that puzzle.
Yeah.
And we're going to go around in a circle here, reposition as we are filling up one of the statues and trying to get all the mirrors in the perfect position. But it's, like, as you can see there, Tendy just had to make the most minor adjustment to get that that last light to hit the statue. It has to
Yeah,
be
it's
pretty
ridiculous.
precise. It
So
is-
sometimes there is no visual lineup to this. You basically just eyeball it, or you try to find a way to basically align your crosshair in a way that you feel like matches up with the blue dot on the back of the statues. But it's basically just trying to figure it out yourself and hope for the best. So it's a bit tedious, and it's also, which is kind of funny, it's FPS dependent on how fast these statues actually light up. However, it's not in the way that you would probably think. The lower your FPS is, the faster they actually recharge. So if you were to have like a really high FPS or run this game at a really high FPS, the best thing you could probably do in an area like this is just stand somewhere that absolutely takes your that was a flashbang. That takes your FPS all the way down to like as low as you can get in this room, and the statue will actually finish they will finish way faster than they would do if you were just standing looking at the floor, for example. Also, streaming helps a lot, so that actually makes this skip also faster.
And
We're gonna be
saw
doing-
the. Oh, I'm sorry. We saw
No,
at
go
the
for it.
beginning we selected puzzle difficulty. If you were
Yeah.
to up the difficulty, would it do anything to this particular puzzle? Would it suddenly like you have to bounce things off the ceiling and like whatever, or like how would it affect
No.
it?
Puzzle difficulty is mostly based off of the puzzles that you're going to be seeing later. It's mostly going to be like the maths puzzles, which don't look like maths puzzles, but they are. and some other smaller puzzles that are going to be used using like a spinning wheel, or the amount of hints that you get in your notebook that I can show off in just a second here. Just have to make sure that she's actually running. This is your notebook. It'll help you with puzzles. And I think it just takes away all of the hints, but all of the puzzles are always static, so the answers are always going to be the same amount of spins, the same amount of like information. You always know what the end is going to be. Also, I do have to give a quick little heads up for anybody who is like really sensitive to shaking screens. When Jennifer falls down, we're gonna have to grab her hand real quick. Our screen is gonna shake like crazy for about 10 seconds, so if you're very sensitive to it, look away whenever I grab her hand, because it actually sucks. It's really annoying and you cannot turn it down. There's no setting for it, so right now, basically. I'll tell you when you can look. So yeah, this is one of two basically sliding areas that we're going to be forced to slide down in this game. It's actually a low trigger as well, so we cannot skip it. And it's really annoying because I basically cannot see anything. It's also done, by the way. Alright, so in this room, I actually recently found out that the only thing you really have to do here is you have to shine your flashlight at these two enemies on the left, then throw a grenade right in this horde, shoot this dude in the back of the head, because we don't take full-on contact, then we turn around and check if there's anyone still left, that dude. Basically, only the enemies that spawn in the arena before you are there, you have to kill. There is more undead that spawn after, but you can just run away from them. The door will open and you can just run out, so you don't have to stand there for another half hour trying to kill enemies.
I love that nade shot. That's new. I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it's something I've only noticed recently as well, that the grenades against undead especially are really broken because they will just one-shot them. Dynamite sticks, for some reason, will just only make them burnt. So, against popular belief, using a dynamite stick in somebody's face doesn't actually do as much as you think it does. Don't try it at home, though. Alright, we're gonna be doing the first, hopefully, slow float here, which is gonna look a little bit goofy if I can get it to work. This one is a bit difficult.
Yeah, so what Tunny's doing here is open up his weapon wheel and looking for like a floating, just ascending, upwardly kind of pattern in his jump.
This one is a bit annoying. There we go.
Mm-hmm. Some of these can be pretty precise. So Tendy's just gonna jump and hold in the weapon wheel. It's gonna continue his momentum and allow him to continue to go upwards. This is actually a glitch found by me, but Tendy found like 20 applications to this run that you'll see really broke the game open. This is one that Tendy found as well.
Yeah, this one basically just skips an entire puzzle where you're forced to wait for Jennifer to walk into a room and doors to open. So obviously it's going to be a bit slow. So instead of actually doing that entire room, we just float past it and don't interact with the room at all, which just skips the entire trigger for it. So we can just move on. This is also a lockdown fight. I have to collect some of these scarab statues, I think they are, or little, little circle things you have to put into the wall. But they always spawn in the same position. You just have to kill these enemies to open the doors.
Yeah, and I know we didn't touch on it specifically, but this flashlight mechanic with these enemies, there's these mummy enemies, and we have a dedicated button to like aim in our flashlight a little bit more to do more like focused damage with that flashlight and expose the enemy to be able to kill it. So it's kind of like, it reminds me of Alan Wake a lot, the way that you would expose an enemy and then be able to do some damage on them.
Yeah, undead in this game are apparently weak to electricity or light in general. They basically act like vampires in a sense, where whenever they touch light, they just take damage, they burn, and then they become vulnerable, so you can kill them. If they aren't burnt, you cannot kill them. If they still have their shield up, you cannot kill them either, so you're gonna have to get rid of the shield first, but you can just shoot or knife off of them. Human enemies, however, you can just shine the flashlight in their face to make them whiff everything. It's really funny, because they will just put their hand up in front of their face, and they will just start spraying everywhere, and they will hit like one bullet every 2 hours, so it's amazing.
Amazing.
We're gonna be doing a little quick jump here. We don't actually have to grab that MG42, even though it's laying there very tempting. You don't have to grab it. There we go. They are blind now. That is how light works. grab one of the strength ones. Path of the Warriors is what they're called. I forgot.
That upgrades.
Would you mind explaining this room real quick? Because this is an interesting room that has seen a lot of changes in just a few weeks.
Yeah, so this is like a pressure tile puzzle room, and we actually have to wait for our friend to catch up to us, and in order to do the puzzle normally. But with the floating glitch, we can just jump right past this puzzle and land on the other side of this wall. Before, it would take upwards of 2 minutes, maybe a minute, to get the person to come over. I have no idea what was holding them up for so long before, but now it doesn't matter. We can just bypass this completely.
Yeah, it was also a bit RNG because in the room right before, where the MG42 was also at, if you didn't time it correctly, basically, Jennifer would just get stuck in that room fighting those people forever, because she doesn't really die or take any damage at all, but she also doesn't do that much damage, so it just takes her forever to get rid of all of those enemies. She will have to clean up all of them, and then she'll come over to help you out, because you basically need 3 bodies on a pressure plates to make sure that the thing actually gets triggered and the statue gets pulled forward enough. So you basically shoot a coffin, get a mummy to drop on top of one, and then she has to stand on one and you stand on one. That's how it works. But it's so RNG that we were lucky enough to find a way to skip past it completely, because sometimes you would just stand there for, I would say, like upwards of 3 or 4 minutes, and she would just not show up at all. So this is the end of the first major level, I would say, the temple level. Now we're going to be sitting in a sadly forced cutscene for a little bit.
Talk about maps.
Thank you. I love that line. It's so silly.
It's a map.
So yeah, we're basically just going to have to press spacebar on a few items in this room, while this guy has his broken arm movement, just to basically to show you everything in his room, but with a little bit of a crooked arm. It's a wonderful cutscene, but I just don't care. I want to move on. So yeah, basically what this cutscene is all about is that they're talking about the second artifact. Basically that heart that we used earlier is a piece of a multi-piece artifact that's going to be used for like major power or something like that. And what he's talking about right now is like, this is a map where you can only see it from the Arctic, so you're gonna have to go there next, which is obviously where we're going to be going next. But for some reason they made this cutscene interactable, which means we cannot skip it. It is actually just a part of forced gameplay. But in the in the first official release of this game, this was actually not in the game. It was actually just a skippable cutscene. So realistically speaking, if we would find a way to go back to patch 1.0, this cutscene would be faster. I don't know about other cutscenes in this game specifically, but some of the artifacts in this cutscene specifically have changed since version 1.0. So if you're trying to search for guides on this game as well, good luck, because half of the things that have been shown have been done in 1.0, which just aren't correct anymore. Mr. Quatermain. We got another skippable cutscene in just a second. I just mashed spacebar, by the way. That's how you can skip cutscenes in this game. It's really easy. Or scroll wheel, because I have it bound to scroll wheel as well. We're gonna have these little landmines, or, well, it's just basically just grenades stuck in the floor. I don't know how they got into the ice, but impressive. I'm stuck on a wall. There's actually a skip found here as well, that I don't specifically use, but it can be faster, I think? I'm not quite sure. I think you know more about it than me, Ghost.
Yeah, I think it's a few seconds faster, nothing too dramatic. Instead, Teddy's going to do a backup where he's going to go on this little cylinder object and try to hop over this fence. That skips having to fight some enemies and gives us more of a direct line to the next section. In this next section, there's actually a theorized skip that is possible. You can traverse past this next glacier area without having to do the normal route, but unfortunately the triggers don't load in, so that was unfortunate. So what Tunders is going to do here is pick up an RPG shoot down some rocks to move some of the rocks in the water and make a path over to the next area.
Yeah, I have to actually shoot it one more time because I mistimed it. That rock is actually invincible after you shoot it for the first time, so you have to wait a couple seconds. Sadly, I cannot count properly, so I mistimed it a little bit, but it's okay. We're just gonna risk my life jumping on these rocks. There's actually another skip that has been found, but it's way too hard to do consistently, right now at least. I think if we can find a way to make it work, then we will use it in runs, but it's basically very similar to the slow floating that I did earlier, but instead of it going up, it takes your momentum and actually like accelerates you forwards or sideways, and it makes you go really fast. And it basically allows us to skip this upcoming puzzle, but we still haven't found a way to do it consistently without having an active speedometer on to check if we're actually going at a correct pace or not. It's just a really, really like almost pixel perfect skip, and it's just too hard to do in real runs, so we just use the old way.
Yeah, it's very similar to the floating mechanic, except we can't really see if we're getting the correct speed or not. So it definitely makes things tricky. And shout out to Drunken Shoe for finding out that skip and also that mechanic.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely something that you have to put a lot of time and effort into. I'm also not sure if it's based off of your FPS or not, so maybe turning down your FPS makes it easier. I don't know, but we basically haven't gotten around to testing that enough because a lot of these skips in this game are really fresh, except for maybe a handful of them. They've all been kind of cooked up by different people in, I would say, the last 4 months, something like that. A lot of people have put their joint eyesight into this game and helped out with routing or finding skips or finding like theorizing ideas on how to make things like go faster. So yeah, appreciate that a lot. So we have to basically kill these 4 units right here, put them to bed real quick. Okay, that happens as well. So yeah, we basically have to clean them up to get Doc over here. He does not want to talk to us until we get rid of all those units, and then we interact with this truck, which we could have skipped using that speed up glitch using our inventory, but again, it's just too hard to do in real runs.
Yeah,
so we're going to be taking the slide down.
Yeah, the glitch that we were referring to earlier would have us jump and float like right over that truck that we just pushed down.
Exactly, and it would just put us right where we stand up right here. Because, sadly, even though the truck is right on the edge of a cliff, we cannot just jump down or, like, interact with the truck right away. We have to finish the puzzle first, and then we can interact with the truck, because there's just a giant invisible wall. Also, sadly, we're going to have to slow walk here, because, yeah, snowstorms. I don't think anybody should try running into a snowstorm face first, going into the opposite direction.
Yeah.
So James is sadly going to walk very slowly for, I would say, a couple seconds here, until he's going to fall down and have an internal monologue for about 10 seconds, talking about things that I don't really care about, sadly, because, I don't know, nothing against Mr. James here, but he's a bit strange sometimes. He's a bit full of himself, let me just say it like that, and it's just because of his family name, but he's honest enough to say it himself as well.
While we have a little bit of time, chat has been talking about submissions, being on Hotfix, different games that have been on Hotfix, so I can let everyone know that if you are interested in being on GDQ Hotfix or at one of our many amazing events, we are accepting submissions for the winter season and other events as they come up. So if you've got a run that you'd love to showcase on the channel, send it our way, and you can do that at the Games Done Quick website, or if you want a direct link, gdq.gg/submit/hotfix. There's also, thank you so much, Lana. There is an exclamation mark submit in chat for more details. That is actually true story how I got started, and that's actually how Tenders is here today. So if you need success stories, we do look at that list. I do look at it pretty much every day, so definitely get your submissions in.
Yeah, awesome. I picked up those dual-wielded pistols because the ones that we start with, the quartermains, they reload so slow that I could generally walk a marathon on my knees, and they wouldn't have been reloaded by the time I come back home. So these are just way better in every single way possible. Sadly, they do have a limited amount of ammo, but we always pick them up whenever we see them. Besides that, usually we just use assault rifles because the amount of ammunition you have is more important than the amount of damage a gun does. Shotguns are completely useless. Almost always the rocket launcher is pretty useless as well. We basically always just use rifles that have high accuracy, MP40, and then there's also going to be a gun we're going to grab later that is going to be very well used. This is actually a new skip I found while I was setting up my tech check, which is kind of stupid. We can just kind of walk on top of these if we trigger the first part of the trap. And then we can just walk all the way to the end without having to do the entire puzzle. So yeah, it's a kind of weird mechanic. Normally there's a giant invisible wall in front of all of those spikes. And whenever you shoot those golden discs, the invisible wall drops. And then certain pieces of the puzzle are going to open up for you to walk through to go to the second section, which is going to be that wall, and then the third section is just going to be that wall. And then you can finally find a path all the way to the end. However, because they have to force the invisible wall down, we can basically just finish the first part of the puzzle and then stand on top of the spikes that aren't actually pieces of the moving puzzle, which are basically just wall blocks. And you won't take any damage standing on top of them. So you can just run all the way to the end of the puzzle without having to do anything.
Mm-hmm. And that's got to save at least a minute, right?
I would say it saves about solid 30 seconds,
Okay.
at least. If you do the puzzle really well, and also the discs, the way they spin is a bit random. So sometimes you can get a really good cycle where you can just shoot all the discs in the right order instantly. And sometimes you're going to have to wait for one to spin all the way back around for you to be able to hit it, because you have to hit the golden part, you cannot hit the back. We're going to be killing a few enemies here, because the trigger of the end of the level is actually tied to that kill counter. Let's see, I think one more is enough. There we go. When the cogs start spinning, you can basically just jump your way in between this wall, which is not supposed to happen, and you can just walk to the end level trigger. Just gonna send us to, I think it's Arctic Temple or base or caves or whatever. There's like 4 different Arctic levels that just have a different ending to them. So just piece of Arctic 1, 2, 3, or 4 or 76. I don't know. So yeah, we take a small detour there to grab another life upgrade. I basically routed most of them in for us to get to stamina level 3, which is going to be a really perfect level for us, because stamina level 4 is going to take way too long to get, and stamina level 3 is just enough for us to get some extra recovery in. Also, I didn't really say anything about that, but can you maybe explain what the people just saw? Because that probably looked really weird.
Yeah, so Tandy just walked left at the top of that hill against the collision on the side of the mountain, and it kind of just propels you upwards. You're gonna see a similar thing coming up here, and this is something that was already found within the game prior to us running, which is a really interesting looking skip. So Tandy's gonna make a jump here and kind of curve left, and that's gonna skip. That's a big skip. It's like 1.5 2 minutes. And one of the scarier skips, because you get set back at the beginning of that hill if you do fail it, and you can just easily fall right into the water.
Yeah, right at the cutscene where you have the first zip line is basically where it sends you back to, and that's jump I made when I was just kind of floating and I had to jump around like the side of a little rock. It's, in my opinion, the single hardest jump to do in the game, because there is so much invisible collision there, and all of it is slanted. So the moment you touch it, your character starts sliding towards the water, and it just insta-kills you. So if you mess it up even a small bit, you will reset back to the start of the level. And I'm glad that I didn't mess it up, because that is probably the one jump that even though I have a setup for it, is still very terrifying. Also, this lever doesn't want to... Hello, thank you.
We did just breeze past one of the skips that we did here. Just like 20 seconds ago, Tenders just went up on a railing and jumped onto that sub. And that skips a bunch of running around and fighting enemies. I believe that was found by Sweet Ola, right? Or maybe that's
I think there was already a version of it from the old record, but it was from way further down. So we basically have to walk around a little bit first, and then jump down like halfway. And the jump would also be really tight. But yeah, Sweet Ola, I think, found a better setup, which was from that little ledge we were jumping from on top of. You can basically just crouch in a corner and it'll just put you up onto the collision of the wall itself. Also, pulling that lever for some reason despawns everybody, so... But yeah, he basically found a way for us to get on top of that little ledge, and we could just jump on top of the submarine, which skips the entire submarine part of the game itself, which is indeed like a 2-minute skip. Oh, I got it first try. Yippee! So another slow float here. This is a weird one, specifically this one, because we didn't mention it earlier, but slow floating, which is what I call this, basically only works in specific levels. It doesn't work everywhere, and it doesn't work in every level. Why? We still don't know. But in this level, in the early part of the level at least, it doesn't work. But the moment we basically walk halfway up that ledge where I was standing, it just starts working. And I just randomly found that one day when I was just trying it out, because I didn't want to walk all the way up into that little lookout tower. And I just randomly found that there was a small area where you can actually jump up using the glitch.
Yeah, that float...
I need to go forward more. There we go.
That skips us having to run around and take a zip line, the first one. And this one prevents us from having to wait for our teammates and also open up this gate.
Yeah. The reason why I also go way further into the left corner is because all of these boxes have, for some reason, have like really high collision. It basically goes up to all those light poles. So for you to get up, you're gonna have to spend ages getting on top of boxes that aren't even that tall. So just going around to the side of it helps a lot, because you can just go on top of the fence and it'll just work better. Also, the old glitch of this was horrible, so I'm glad I couldn't find it. I found that we could also do it here, because there was an older version where we would also get on top of this little fence where I'm trying to get on top of right now, where we would basically just crouch in a corner and like spam crouch jump. And it would just randomly kind of put you on top of a little bit of collision, bit by bit. But we never found a way to do it consistently, and it was really janky, because sometimes you could get it first try, and sometimes you would just get like pelted by all the enemies inside of that arena. Which is why we skip it in the first place, because we get stuck in an arena where we have to wait for people, which is slow. So for some reason that just kind of didn't go well with me, and I just started testing out where I could use the floating glitch more to just get out of there, because I didn't like the way it worked. This puzzle, I'm not even gonna explain because I don't know how it works, but if you just shoot and pull the levers, the door will just open. So I'm not gonna be sitting here being all smart and stuff, because I am definitely not that smart. You can probably figure it out, don't worry. I just don't like looking at maps.
Sometimes you just gotta use a little bit of brute force, you know?
Yeah, exactly. If you have a gun, you might as well use it. At least in this scenario. Alright. So this is a bit of a, I would say it's like a small boss fight. It's a bit of a weird fight. This Stein dude with the MG right up there, he doesn't die to bullets. I don't think he dies at all. But we have to just destroy his platforms. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna stand here and shoot that, and it just instantly ends the level. Because we have to destroy the platforms with explosives. It's gonna be one to the left, one to the right. But I found a lineup today, actually, that was at that exact lineup, where we can just shoot a rocket in the middle of it and just blow up the entire platform in one go. Which is faster than throwing a grenade as well.
Yeah, and
he also did another jump.
Yeah, you can talk about it.
Yeah, we just did another jump right there. That one I always have trouble with because it's really specific. You can do it from left and right side. Can you please leave me alone? Thank you. But yeah, that jump skips, I would say, like 3 or 4 minutes of you having to walk all the way around the ravine. So instead we just jump it, and then we just do the fire puzzle, which is always the same combination. And knifing always one-shots, if that wasn't obvious. This is what I mean by toothpaste-covered artifacts.
It's so fluorescent.
It's so bright. I guess it makes sense for the fact that it upgrades your flashlight, but it's very out of place. I think it's... No, I have to do one more. I remember these things by memory and memory only, so I kinda forget sometimes the combination is to a puzzle. I think that's it, okay.
I'm so impressed because I don't think I've ever done a run on this game without my Google Docs open on the side.
I've done one too many runs of this game to have a document open on my other monitor. I used to actually write them down in my notebook and just have my notebook open, which is where I write most of my notes for games, and then I write a doc after, because I tend to have a lot of scatterbrain while I'm writing notes. So if I would make that a public document, I think people would start tweaking just by me tweaking. Also, we needed to get that guy out of the ice and shoot him, because otherwise the little hidden compartment doesn't open, so we can't place the artifact here. I don't know why that is the reason a hidden compartment opens, but sure, that's video game logic, I guess. Would you mind
Here's
explaining
another-
this puzzle, actually? Because we just skip it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a puzzle here that you're supposed to light up and kind of twist this a little elevator around, but yeah, Tendy's just gonna jump on the person's head and jump out of the arena. That was actually found by Xanaru.
Yeah, Xanaru has indeed found that, our Australian friend. It's insane how many people actually found certain skips in this game that I've actually managed to like incorporate into a run, because most of these skips were basically found like individually. People were just testing random levels and just doing whatever. And then like Drunken Shoe found the one skip with the speed up, for example, and then Sweetola came up with the submarine skip. Xanaru came up with this one. Gulch found the slow floating, and I basically just turned them into a full run and completely destroyed this game. This record actually used to be somewhere around like 1 hour 40, 142, something like that. And it's already been taken down to an hour and 20 minutes and even less. So we basically scraped off at least 20 to 21 minutes of time with just the new skips, and that's only been, I would say, a handful of us looking at the game. Also, in this area, we are forced to clean up all of these enemies. Otherwise, the quest won't update, and we cannot go to the next area. So we're just gonna have to stand here and hope that everybody... Yeah, everybody died, because the music stopped. Right.
Yeah, we were very fortunate to have so many people jump in and help break this game with us. It's pretty random. This is a pretty random game too.
Yeah.
Our friend Tater, introduced us to this game, and actually gifted me a copy of this game, and it kind of just like took off from there after we did a little bit of glitch hunting, because it was a game that was kind of hasn't been ran in several years and was touched by a few people. So, having people at resources to help with glitches, and we had a few different people help with making speedrun tools for this game. Like as you saw in the beginning, we had a Jeep speed up that was made by Haki.
Yep.
That was super nice and just a good quality of life for the game, because that cutscene can be pretty long, especially if you're resetting the game and doing multiple runs. And then we also
it's really
had people,
tedious.
Yeah. And then we also had people like Colin Speedruns that helped make mod tools and cheat engine tools to help us explore the game a little bit more and made it ASLs. So yeah, big shout out to everyone involved in speedrunning, and just the people you see here is not everyone that is involved. There's a lot of working hands in the process to make this one
Yeah.
what it is today.
It's insane. We basically were this game hasn't been touched in over, I would say, 9 years, and then randomly our friend basically was like, play this game. I used to play this a lot, and then Gulch picked it up. I was like, I can help out with finding a little bit of glitches here and there. I'm not really a glitch hunter, I would say. I'm more or less just a tester runner. And I just kind of started finding way too much stuff and then started incorporating it into runs. Also, we're going to be sent to the mines right now, but I can keep going for a little bit more. I think we can finish mines and then do the short break after.
That's good.
So, sadly, we're going to get punched a little bit. But
It's
we're going to
interesting
kick this
This
man
doesn't do
first.
the damage like the other melee does.
Yeah, it does. Definitely does way less damage. I don't think mine does less damage, though. I'm cheating. We're gonna grab our guns, we're gonna run onto this corner, shoot this generator. There is actually a glitch, or like an out-of-bounds skip, so we don't have to do this part with grabbing the key. However, it's not really faster than actually just running and grabbing the keys, so we just do that instead. Also,
Yeah,
a little bit of a information thing about that room specifically. My character slides around everywhere in that room, but it's because your FPS gets so high that your character starts sliding. So the higher your FPS is, the more your character kind of just becomes jittery and starts sliding across the floor, like his feet are made of butter. It's nothing we can do about it, except lower our FPS, which is going to also interfere with some other stuff that happens in the run. So weird in that specific room that I kind of have to force myself to stop moving sometimes, but it's kind of funny at the same time. I can stand still and go anywhere in that room. So yeah, what we got coming up now is I would say about a minute or two of just auto scroller. I'm going to sit in the minecart, be borderline unkillable, and just shoot at some random other people in minecarts. What you can enjoy during these sections, there are going to be 2 parts of this, is a lot of corpse launching. There's just going to be a lot of ragdolling everywhere, like these people are, and he's probably going to get hit by this minecart and just fly. No. So I can just kind of sit and shoot at these people. So if there's anything that you want to mention, Gulch or Cutie, feel free.
I mean, we have to address the fact that Awesome Games Done Quick 2026 will be live in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Sorry, it's in a city from January 4th to 10th. Registration is still now available through the event, so be sure to register if you want to experience the event in person, and you can do that at gdq.gg for more information. There's probably, yes, exclamation mark GDQ. That is coming up much sooner than I think anyone is prepared for, and I am very excited for it.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of good runs showcase. I'm excited. I was peeping at the schedule earlier.
You should check it out. On my recommendation as well. If you don't like it, blame me.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, that is the end of our first little minecart section. Right now we're going to be basically running towards that door at the end here, and going to put some dynamite sticks on top of it because that seems safe. But first I'm going to grab the artifact out of this chest, shoot some people before I die myself. And also, just a quick random note on this as well. These specific type of cutscenes, if you run or move right when you interact with those doors, your character will start moving but just lose his hands, so you'll have to reload your checkpoint.
I hate when I lose my hands. Can never keep
Yeah,
track of
it's
things.
unfortunate.
This is
Speaking
one of
of
the
losing your hands, be careful with fireworks at New Year's. Please. Please.
This is one of the more scary floating glitches, mainly because it pushes you right, and this invisible wall is deceivingly high. The amount of times I failed this is...
That was like a pixel off.
And this is actually one of the... you forced puzzles that we have. So there's like an optional treasure, those like blue and white and yellow treasures that we've been picking up in random areas throughout the run. There's a blue treasure in there, and we have to solve this water puzzle for some reason to progress. I still don't understand, but this apparently spawns the minecart and allows us to proceed. So we're gonna.
Yeah, it's really weird how this room specifically works, because I've been doing some testing, because the top of that wall also doesn't exist, so you can also just slow float over that thing. But these minecarts that we're gonna enter here in a second, I fell down, that is a bit tragic. But these minecarts that we're gonna enter here are actually already here if you just fly through that door. But they aren't interactable. If you blow up the door and then enter the room, the minecart just disappears, so you still cannot interact with it. And if you finish the puzzle in the back, which has the blue artifact in it, then the minecarts will respawn and become interactable as well. Also, this guy specifically is unkillable. He does not die. You can shoot at him how many times you want to, he never dies. That's a little fun fact. I don't know why, but I think it's trigger based or something like that, that he has to shoot something. But there is going to be some enemies, I think in the room after this, that are also going to be having like grenade launchers, and they're going to be shooting certain things to get like animation in the level going. But if you shoot them, they will just die, but their grenade launchers will still shoot out of themselves and hit the animation triggers anyway, which is a bit silly. Also, he's just chilling. Yeah, this is I would say, the more exciting part of the of the minecart ride. This is definitely the part where the level gets a bit strange, and just for the people who don't know, these mines have to be placed by somebody, and you're going to be seeing in just a second how far this tunnel actually goes, because there's no way that this was built in 1938, which is when this game takes place, because this is just insane. And it's going to get even worse, so don't worry. He just did a front flip on a minecart.
Wicked.
Style points. I think he's playing the wrong game though. And this is exactly why I just love this part. Like it's by far the most uninteresting part of the entire run, because you're forced to sit in a minecart and just sit here, and it's also way faster than running. So even if you found a way to not have to enter the minecart, running is just so slow that you might as well just take the minecart. But I don't have to use my left hand for anything. I can just sit here and shoot at people. But seeing all these bodies just fly like gravity doesn't exist is just the most entertaining thing to me for some reason. He just went into the ceiling. He just disappeared.
You gotta love high FPS ragdolls.
I was about to say, I think he's just playing Phasmophobia or something. He just turned into a ghost. I also have no idea how this cart is actually moving forwards. We just went uphill and still went fast. This is also man-made, by the way.
Yeah.
We just went straight into the Shadow of Mordor. Weird caves. Alright. Well, luckily, this is the end of the minecart section. We're gonna faceplant and not take any damage at all, because that is how Quartermain is built. Alright. Now, this is also an interesting slow float. It actually skips some really funky triggers if I don't hit my head against the bridge. Help. I think I'm fine. I think I'm okay. I can save this, surely. Oh!
Nice.
Okay. So, normally you're supposed to shoot at one of those levers back there, the one I also pull, but instead we just float to the other side, which makes this door just open and the enemies despawn, so we don't have to do the other half of the puzzle, which normally opens this door where we just entered through. I don't know, I found the glitch, but didn't realize just how much time it saved until I did it normally once. We're also gonna pull this lever, and then we just have to get rid of all of the rest of these enemies. They are basically just gonna spawn in set spots. I think they're gonna be spawning here. That's the end.
Very nice.
And
we're
once
off to
I
a-
get on top of that, the end of level should trigger.
Yeah, this is a mini boss section. We're intended to move some cranes over. There's like a crane on each side of this room. We're supposed to move it over so that we can kind of build a bridge to get on top where the level would end. But we can just use that floating glitch in order to bypass this puzzle entirely. There was a way previously, before the floating glitch was found, to skip this a little bit earlier and just move one of the cranes, but now we don't have to do any.
Yeah,
Love
no,
that.
we just jump onto the side and Spider-Man. Alright, and that is the end of mines, which is going to be our little pausing checkpoint, I think.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a quick pause. Any runs that are longer than about an hour 10 or so, we want to make sure everybody has a chance to take a quick break, use the restroom, get up, stretch, grab some water, anything you might need, get a little popcorn because you're getting into the run. That's always my suggestion. But we have talked quite a lot during this run about the importance of community and getting involved. So while we're on break, if you are looking to get more involved with the GDQ community, you can join the official Games Done Quick Discord and add the Hotfix role to stay in the loop on upcoming events like GDQ in Pittsburgh, chat with staff, and more. So use !Discord in the Twitch channel. I got to make sure I beat all the mods who have been beating me today. I think I got it. To get more details and to learn how to join that. But we will be back in just a few minutes with the exciting conclusion to this run. Don't go anywhere. Hello everyone and welcome back to Perilous Paths here on GDQ Hotfix. We're in the middle of a run of Deadfall Adventures, so without further ado, we will just get right back into it. Whenever you're ready, give us a 3, 2, 1 and we'll get started.
Alright, let's see. We're gonna get back into it in 3, 2, 1, let's go. So we're gonna instantly skip cutscenes because again we don't care, and then we're gonna go to, I would say, the last main chapter of the game, which is going to be the Mayan jungle. That's actually what it's called. It doesn't have a specific name, it's just called Mayan jungle because apparently no location in this game actually has a name except for the end. We're gonna shoot that trap and then grab the artifact instead of just run past it.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, we skipped a cutscene in the beginning here. We actually had a casual airplane crash, and this is a plane here. So we're just retrieving our supplies from this plane.
Yeah, we're actually going to need the dynamite sticks that are all the way at the back of the plane, because obviously we store our dynamite sticks in the middle of an airplane. That is very safe. And we're also going to grab the MP40, which honestly I didn't even know that it was there until I was like very far into already speedrunning this game. It's just in a box right next to it, and I've just never seen it. Also, I just took damage because of an explosion, and I'm permanently zoomed in, which is also not great. There we go.
This game is full of surprises every time.
Yeah. Somebody also asked me a little bit ago why you can ADS with dual-wielded guns, which is also very interesting. I'm also stuck on a wall. Can I? Thank you. There we go. Normally we would take that zipline down, but it's slow. Again, me getting stuck on a wall is also very slow, so wouldn't really have mattered in this case. All of these golden circle pressure plates are traps you can shoot, basically. You don't have to walk on top of them.
Now, at a very real, incredibly high risk of commentator cursing you, we were talking during the break that you are actually on a world record pace for this, as of
I think so, at least.
break time, we think. Oh, if you are watching this and you're enjoying it, first, thank you. And second, stick around because we might set up our first record on Perilous Paths here.
The first time.
Nah, no one has set a record on this show. It's one of my bucket list items. We need a record on the show, so don't disappoint me. No pressure.
I'll try my best. Don't worry.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
A true tender would never disappoint. Don't worry. So we're actually going to trigger this trap. It's a puzzle by just jumping up there. And now we're going to get to, I would say, my least favorite area in the game. We're going to basically end this level in, I would say, like a small little puzzle, like an actual puzzle where you have pieces on a table. And once we finish that, we're going to go into the tombs, which is just going to be completely filled up with all sorts of undead enemies, and moving basically anywhere can get you stuck in corners, which obviously sucks. So I'm going to try my best to not get stuck on any of them and die, but that area is like the one major area where I used to always find a way to get stuck in some corner and just unfortunately lose my runs. Also, we're gonna skip past this little trap here just by jumping on top of an invisible wall and just completely ignoring it. Quartermain has incredible legs, but he cannot sprint longer than 2 seconds.
Mm-hmm. Even with all those treasure upgrades.
Yeah.
Still slow.
We're forced to pick up that note as well to trigger the quest. Which also sometimes causes for weird interactions, because sometimes if you swap your weapons while you pick up that note, your character gains a third arm. And you're gonna have to put away that third arm before you can actually do something again. And yes, that cannon can also blow you up. I found that out the hard way. I thought I was safe, but I wasn't. Also, there's always lag in this area for some reason. It's just trying to load in some new area. I don't know why. It always lags.
Yeah, there's that puzzle that Tenders just breezed past. You're supposed to bring up your notebook in order to highlight the correct path that's not trapped, but Tenders just knows which path to go down.
Yeah, it's right, left, right, left.
Yeah, pretty easy to remember.
It's really hard.
Yeah.
Oh, I also put these in the worst position possible. I'm stuck. There we go. I almost got hit by a sword in the face. That would have been tragic. That insta-kills you, by the way. But it only sends you back to in front of it. Also, I cannot climb this log.
And I believe Tenders just got the last stamina upgrade of the run, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
We probably will find enough upgrades to get, or upgrades, treasures to get another upgrade. But we're just gonna send that into health, because to get another stamina upgrades, we're gonna need like 14 more treasures of life, which we basically just won't find anymore if we're gonna take a direct path to the end. So I would prefer to not die here, so I'm just gonna shoot everybody here. You can run past a few of those, but not the ones in here. You have to get rid of all of them. Also, hello. Yeah, he's gone. And then he is the last one. We're gonna grab this node as well. And then, all of a sudden, Jennifer has just learned to lockpick a door that doesn't even have a lock on it. So, and she also still has her gun in her hand. She's so talented. Alright, so this is the little jigsaw puzzle I was talking about. It's on that table. I also changed my sensitivity recently, which just absolutely takes my sensitivity in these type of minigames all the way down. I don't know why. It just makes it really slow, so I'm like having to drag my entire mouse across my desk, basically. It's really annoying. We're gonna finish up this. Skip past that, then there's gonna be some undead spawning up here. I'm gonna try and shoot off their shields as fast as I can, so I can just kind of collide them with my light and just get both of them. Because your light does have a battery in almost every area in the game. So making sure that you spend your upgrades well on battery power and life, as well as just placing your light in a way that it hits all the enemies, is just generally going to be a better idea. That is the end of the jungle and the start of my least favorite level in the entire game, the tombs.
You did have something interesting come in on chat, which is, what do you think about 100% or an all treasures category for this game?
I think I actually still have all treasures routed in my notebook somewhere, because I do think about maybe one day picking those up. But right now, because the game is still so like under the radar, I never really considered making multiple leaderboards, so it would be more or less just a run for fun. But we could also like incorporate those more. It's definitely going to be an interesting category, being really overpowered by this point. Some sweet revenge is going to be served. Also, for the people who are sensitive to shaking screens, I will give you one heads up. It's going to be happening right now again. And this one can actually kill you as well, so I have to lock in.
And it's so hard to tell where you are.
There we go.
Yeah.
If you hit one of those walls, your character will just flop and die. I don't know. You cannot see anything. It also ended. But yeah, it's horrible. And sadly, the game developers never put in like some way to turn down screen shaking.
So what Tender's doing here is shooting all of these little green petals, and it opens up the light above so that the enemies will instantly be able to be one-shotted. He's going to use the flashlight on them. There's going to be a lot of enemies here, so doing this fight without it would be quite defeat.
Also, a small optimization is shooting off the shields of most of these dudes, because they will never sprint at you if they still have their shields up, which just makes them slower. So if they haven't been hit by the light, just make sure to shoot off their shields and they will just start sprinting at you. And I'm just standing in the middle of the light, so they will just get hit by it and I can just lean them up. He doesn't want to get hit by it. Can you leave me alone for a second? Thank you. Yeah. Shields are slow. Shoot them off, they run fast. Right here, this is also one of the interesting game mechanics. If you do not kill these two undeads, wood is impenetrable. You cannot get rid of wood. So those two little planks I shot off, if you don't kill the enemies first, they will just not be able to get shot. So you just have to kill them first. So this is another one of those puzzles that is supposed to be interesting, but it's just 1 and 7. We're gonna run up here, jump that little area to speed it up just a little bit. This room is basically just a bit of an auto-scroller. You don't have to do that much. Just shoot the discs and you'll be fine.
Yeah, this is a room I was really hoping that the floating glitch would work, but unfortunately, due to a reason we don't know, it just doesn't.
It doesn't work in this entire level, I think, but I'm not quite sure about that. This level does have some interesting gravity, but we'll get into that when we get there. Go. Grabbed another one of those warrior upgrades. I don't know if this one actually matters, but it's right in front of our face, so you might as well grab it, because we love loot and we love treasure.
And there's a puzzle here that it took me way too long to realize you could just walk right past. I don't know how that works, but...
Yep. Now this puzzle, actually, I was kind of ashamed. I was doing a D-Rust earlier this week, and how this puzzle that we're doing right now works is we're gonna have to grab these 3 coins that I'm gonna grab right now, and we're gonna have to grab that skull. So we're gonna grab this. You can see it in the bottom left also, what we already have collected. We're going to be dropping that skull to the right, and we're going to be putting these coins into the left. So 3 coins will weigh the same as a skull will, but I just forgot that I have to pull the lever after. So I was just standing here trying to figure out what I was doing wrong, realizing that I just haven't pulled the lever yet. Also, we just clipped on top of a staircase because of gravity.
Another glitch found by Tendy.
Yep, I literally shoved my face into a wall and it worked. That is the only way I found it. I was just trying to stand there and I just got pushed into a wall because the staircase is turning. And yeah, it just puts you on top of the first best thing it can put you on top of, and it was basically the ceiling on top of the staircase.
This puzzle right here is secretly a math puzzle. When you're doing this casually, you kind of each of those nodes represents a different number value. There's a few of those different puzzles across the game here, but we only have to do.
We're only going to be doing 2, yeah. So this one is like the introductory one, but I don't like thinking, so I will just skip maps and figure out the puzzle with my own 2 hands. Also, grabbing your notebook during this puzzle, normally you have to stand on top of the pressure plates that get shown to you and walk through this area, but because we're playing on easy mode, you can just grab your notebook and just shows you the entire path on the floor, so all you have to do is just stand on top of the lit up tiles and it will just complete it. Now that is difficult quests. Alright, I'm gonna grab the Fedorov, is what it's called. And we're going to be shooting some of these pillars. This is the area that kind of scares me, because there is always just a ridiculous amount of enemies in this room, and they will start cluttering. And some of them have guns, because undead people have guns. They kind of look like the musketeers from Clash Royale if you've hit them with a fireball. That's always what I think of them about whenever I see them. So, if you ever do that to a poor musketeer in Clash, then you know where they end up in my game. But we didn't die, luckily. Yeah, I tend to die there once or twice. It just sends you back to right before it. This room is also interesting if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, there is a skip here that you can do. So Tendy's going to push up the lever and set on the side here and do a strafe jump over to this puzzle early. You usually have to wait for it to like rotate around and build a bridge, but kind of skip over that. And then Tendy's going to jump right back, immediately push the lever once the bridge gets in place. Going to send us down.
That jump back onto the lever is really, really hard. It is like 2 pixels that push you up, basically, and if you miss it, you fall down one platform, which isn't the end of the world. You won't die for it, but it'll make this bottom side elevator part take like half a minute longer, because it'll just take a while for the game to register where you're actually standing, so it won't start going down for a while.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually another skip right at the end of this level that I hope I can get to work, but if it doesn't work, it's completely fine. It'll only lose like 2 seconds, but I would like to show it off if we can find a way to do it. And that guy just launched. Oh me, he just went straight through the wall.
This is one of the more scary combat sections, so I imagine Tendy's going to take cover a little bit here and there. There's just a lot of enemies filled up here in close range that can easily get melee attacks on you. And as we mentioned before, the enemy melee attacks in this game do quite a lot of damage, so that's the main thing that we're going to be looking out here for.
A shotgun blast and 1 melee can take you down to 1 HP instantly, so yes. Alright, we're gonna run up here and then see if I can get this glitch to work. If not, then it's completely okay. We didn't. Okay, so sometimes if you get here fast enough, you can actually interact with this lever before the elevator starts going up, because you're basically standing on top of like a big old round elevator, and it'll just it won't actually extend back on the platform where we just jumped off of. But it'll just take us straight up here, so it'll save you like a second or two. But it's a really cool skip, but it doesn't really work consistently. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. And now we got actually one of the more interesting out-of-bounds areas. This is actually one of the older skips that was already in the game before we even started running it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
the skip's a little bit of waiting around here, just climb over and hop right into this next area. He just jumped over like this door that we'd have to wait for someone to open for us. So
yeah, it's I would say about a 40-second area where you just have to force kill some enemies for doors and interactions to open up for you, and that's about it. I also remember that room being hilarious, where we just grabbed the skull and put it on top of a chair, because I remember a gold stream where he was kind of struggling to find a skull that was just not spawned in. The spawn that's on top of the body that you kind of have to grab, sometimes it just doesn't like to spawn in. You can interact with it, but it just doesn't spawn in. So he was just looking for it, and he couldn't find it. It was one of the funniest thing ever.
Little did I know that the game just said, no, we're not going to make it exist for you.
Yeah. Also, these musketeer enemies don't matter. They are just going to stand here and shoot at me, but because they spawn in due to me grabbing the artifact in that one room. So I'm just going to do a puzzle in front of their face, and I just walk off, even though they're just standing there aiming at me. So Smough got seen here into one of the more interesting boss fights that we also skip. Because I think we only do one boss fight in its entire game. And this one right at the end. Oh, this one is also kind of annoying to get, because sometimes a character doesn't want to go up, and I'm kind of getting handed a sword. Okay, I'm going up. So right here is also a deceivably high invisible wall, where we can also slow float over. I basically try to use some visual indicators to see if I'm up. Also, this fire is really annoying. It's because it's currently burning our feet, which is not nice. That's why we're also taking damage, but I think we're about good. There we go. We're gonna do this. I don't know why he showed up, but we're gonna do this here as well. This one is also kind of tough, because if you're going too far to the right, there's an invisible wall that just puts you back down. So I hope I am going the right way. I'm gonna go over here, and this one is the sketchy one, and we got it instantly. So if we fall down here, you fall out of bounds, infinitely fall down, and you're just gonna have to reload your checkpoint. But this room in of itself is kind of funny, because this is a skip that I actually found. Because I kind of brute forced my way out of that fight. I wanted to slow flow out of that fight because I thought it would be faster. The boss fight, which it is, but it actually doesn't load in this area where we're standing in right now until you finish the fight and do some extra curricular activities like right after it. But if you just find a way to get into that one little tunnel that I slow floated into, it just loads in the next area without loading in the area before. So you can just basically skip past, I would say, about a 2-minute section of you having to stand somewhere and listen to dialogue, just by floating out of bounds into a load zone, which just happened to be there.
That's got to be one of the bigger skips in the game, right? The boss fight is pretty long as well.
Also zoomed in again. Yeah, it saves quite a bit. The boss fight itself doesn't actually save that much. It's about a minute of a boss fight itself, because you can do it really fast. You shine your flashlight at the boss, and then you pull a lever and you do it like 2 more times. Basically, that's all. That's the entire boss fight. But the room right after the boss fight does take ages, because it's basically like you and Jennifer are inspecting like a room, and then you have to do like a very small puzzle, and she'll start yapping, and before you know it, it's another 2 minutes later in the run, and you're just still standing in the same room, which we skip that as well, and that is quite the big time save. So even if you fail it a couple times, it's completely fine. Like, you will still save time. Also, in this is one of the few rooms in the game where you have infinite flashlight, so you can just keep shining.
Oh wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Also, I kept a few of those enemies alive on purpose. The soldiers, so they would take aggro from the undeads, and they would just shoot at them while I was just lighting them up. That's what you call free labor. Let's see if I can get this. Oh, too bad. So we have to throw some dynamite sticks. I don't want to blow up myself. Thank you. We have to throw some dynamite sticks into that. It's kind of like an old clock. Does it want to trigger or not?
Yeah, maybe not. Didn't get one.
I thought I triggered it. Oh,
yeah, it looked good.
We're gonna just hold it here, I guess. Oh, it just drops it down. That's wonderful.
This game.
See if this one works. Yeah, it's a bit jank sometimes. It's an older game. I cannot expect too much. Anyway, that is like an old clock, and it basically forces some fire that's above you to keep burning. Every single time one of those like big old stone blocks would go up and down. So this now disappears, so we can walk over it. Usually you can like easily one-cycle it, but I mistimed it just by a small bit, and then I apparently threw a dynamite stick that voided or something like that. So a little bit slow. That's no biggie. I'm gonna shoot some of these guys over here. I also ran out of rifle ammo. Can you stop punching me, please? I'm 1 HP. I don't have ammo. There we go. This is fine. Everything is fine. We're gonna grab the skull and grab the reserve as well, because we have to put one back on the pedestal to open the doors back up. Then in preparation, I'm going to turn this one, I think it's 3 times. Just going to grab this gun. I'm gonna put this one down and turn it twice. Basically, all of these skulls have to face a specific direction. Top right has to be, I think it's west, and then east, north, and this one has to go south. And it basically lines up with the ones up here. It opens the door. But you also have to turn the skull you grab yourself first. So yeah, I just kind of did it in a way that's a bit faster than doing it one by one. But it's just kind of multitasking everything at the same time. This upcoming skip right here is one that is a bit inconsistent at times, but I'm just going to try it because it's way, way faster than doing the entire fight. I'm not going to tell you what the skip is called. I'm just going to call it orb skip for now. Because I heard people like that word. But the original name given to this skip is a bit weird, so what we're going to try and do here is we're going to try and slow float up. And this is going to be one of the slower ones, where we can't really have much momentum going forwards. Because if we go forwards too much, there's like a little bit of a weird invisible barrier that pushes you back down. So it'll just push you back down into the collision of this wall that we're going on top of right now, and it'll just send you into out-of-bounds land, and you have to reload your checkpoint. So just doing this slow is usually safe. So I'm kind of praying right now that I'm not gonna get sent back down, but I think I'm okay. Like I'm already pretty high up. I don't think I'm gonna get pushed back down.
Yeah, so this skips one fight to open up a room to this light puzzle that we see on our right,
right
and
there.
then we'd have to do that entire puzzle, which, if you've played this game casually, you would know that it is a pain in the butt.
Yeah, it's a horrible room. It's not even the design of the room itself. There's just too much going on. You basically have to interact with like those light statues that you have at the beginning of the game. You use your own flashlight on the back of them to start flashing lights at the orbs. I also have to wait real quick until the boss spawns. But you basically have to light up all those orbs manually. And if you miss the orbs, you're gonna have to wait a cycle, but there's enemies spawning in there, and the floor underneath you basically turns into fire. So there's just everything is going on at the same time, and you get killed so fast. So
Yeah,
that skip alone skips 2 entire parts of the boss fight. And there's another like small little fun fact about this skip specifically. You can well, there's actually 2 fun facts. You can also slow float up to the part where the boss is standing right now, but he's actually invincible up there, so you cannot hurt him. You can shine your flashlight in his face as much as you want, but it doesn't do anything. You can knife him. It even makes a sound when you knife him, but it just doesn't do any damage. And the other part is, if you try and do the slow floating from inside of the orb room itself, because we used to do that. We used to slow float into the orb room and then do the orb puzzle itself manually, but then we realized that we could also just skip the entire room itself, so we did that. But if you were to skip into the orb room and then go to the room right after, which is the room where we just did the boss fight in, it basically causes 3 of the boss fight phases to spawn at once, and it just crashes your game. The game cannot handle the amount of enemies that are on your screen at that point, so it just breaks your game and just forces you right out of it. I found that out the hard way, and now we just go around it, but sometimes the wall is a bit inconsistent at the sides, so I'm glad we just got it instantly, because it's a really slow skip. My old enemy math. It's the one line Quarterman says that I actually kind of like. Now, I don't know if I'm doing this correctly, if I'm being completely honest. I think I am. Okay.
There you go.
It's just autopilot.
Learn the pattern. At this point, no maths involved.
Yeah, I've never learned the puzzle itself. I don't know what I'm lighting up. I'm just lighting up bubbles. So, we're actually in the last level of the entire game right now. Jibalba. We just did like the first part of the level. Now we're gonna go up. Do a small little puzzle in a room with 1 undead enemy, where we basically just have to press 3 buttons, and then go into a room that I also kind of completely broke, because there is going to be a room that basically has those disc puzzles like we had in the Arctic level. But instead we're going to try and get up onto the wall itself and just run on top of it. So it looks very similar, but in this case the walls don't look like giant spikes that are poking you in the feet. This time they just look like floor. So we're gonna grab these guns right here just to shoot this elevator. And then we're gonna get rid of them right away because, as I said before, reloading these things takes forever. So we're just going to grab these pistols instead. We're gonna equip our flashlight, and then there's going to be one enemy up there and one down here. Get rid of him. Break his shield. And then we're going to do that. It's going to lower this wall, and now I have to do a little bit of a precise, little shimmy here. See if I can get it to work or not. This one is a bit tough to manage sometimes. There we go. So we get on top of this wall, which you're not supposed to be, and then you can just kind of land here, stand in this corner, and go up. And it'll skip you the entire puzzle. Basically all the way to the end right here, where you have to get rid of these two guys, and that's about it. We're going to burn, and go, grab this gun, use this button. That one is for a side quest, we don't need that. Also, these enemies are not supposed to be here, but because we skipped the entire room, they are just running here and trying to stab me. It doesn't work, but it looks funny. Nice decorations, I guess.
I think that was the first time I've seen that skip. That was cool.
Yeah, it's probably the last skip that I've implemented before taking a small break of the game to run some other stuff. So, there's also a funny little thing about this puzzle, the one I just did right here, the discs. The order of this puzzle is basically just the number at which they go up. So the first pillar that goes up is the first one you shoot. So you don't have to think about any sort of game. You just look and you shoot, which is wonderful. I like how those puzzles work. Well, we're gonna light up that one. This is an area where I'm actually going to try and do a little bit of enemy manipulation, if I can get it to work at least. We're gonna shoot this dude right here. Then we're gonna shoot that. I think it worked. So this guy is gonna be right there, and then we're gonna keep standing right here. We're not gonna run to the end yet. Until we are sure it worked, and it did. So all the last of the enemies are gonna be right here now, which is really convenient for us because the door that's gonna open is right here. If you walk too far forwards or not hit the enemy with the little trap on the side that insta-kills him, there's a chance that the enemy spawn behind you and you have to run back, which is annoying, and it loses your time.
The triple melee hit there was just the cherry on top. That was
Yeah, that was wonderful. Oh, I ran out of battery.
Yeah, the end game of this game is pretty much the entire reason we pick up all the flashlight upgrades.
Yeah.
They're just filled to the brim with these types of enemies.
Yeah, I'm also going to be looking for the musketeer versions of these, because they're going to be standing in corners basically AFKing for the first bit of this puzzle, and you're going to have to get rid of all of the enemies in this arena before it actually allows you to progress to the next piece of the puzzle. So I'm just going to be running around basically looking for all of these enemies as fast as I can, so I can get rid of them as fast as I can. There's also somebody behind me trying to stab me. That is rude. Can I hit him from here? I don't actually know. I think so. There we go. I think that's it, yeah. So, once you get rid of all of those enemies, you can basically do this puzzle, which is just turning some pieces of statues to align them with the sunlight, and make a beautiful little artwork out of them. Just going to be spinning this one 3 times, going to send it back to here, spin this one twice, just going to rotate the sun. At least I think it's the sun, otherwise I might be cooking.
Yeah, I think this is the last puzzle of the game, right?
Well, technically there's one more, but it's not really a puzzle. You just shoot the eyes out of a statue.
Oh, okay,
So
right.
some floor goes up. But yeah, technically this is the last major puzzle of the game. This door is gonna open, and then we're gonna have, I would say, 2 more fight scenes and that's gonna be the end of the game. So we're getting really close to the end right now. Doo-doo-doo.
You're doing great, Tendy. This is great.
Thank you.
And chat might not know this, but it's like what 2, 3 a.m. for you. You're based in Europe, so
Yeah, it's really late.
doing this first thing or last thing in the morning, depending on how you look at it, is very
It's
impressive.
2:32. Yeah, it's usually my peak performance time. This is because I work night shifts, but yeah, this is probably the last thing I'm gonna be doing, and then I'm gonna be watching some other great speedruns that are gonna be coming out after this. So we're gonna be chilling here, just wait apparently because we don't take initiative, and now we're gonna jump down. My priority here is just to make sure that all the shields get removed off of the enemies, and that most of them get lit up with a flashlight, because regardless of me shooting them or not, making them vulnerable is just going to be convenient for me. Because the other enemies in this room don't like me either, but they will also shoot at the undeads. We're just going to do this, and I think there's one more right there. He's just shooting at nothing because he cannot aim. He doesn't know where his right mouse button is. Shooting these eyes, make sure to not jump during any of these cutscenes because it will glitch out your inventory every once in a while, which is also not great. And this is the final area of the game. There's going to be a boss fight right here. We're just going to be dumping an entire mag into his face when he shows it. He doesn't want to show it today. He has a grenade launcher, or the rocket launcher we had earlier. Wow, he is really tanky today. And then we're going to send him to phase 2. We're gonna grab this rocket launcher off the floor, and then shoot right here twice. Basically hit both of these pillars at the same time. We're gonna hit these two, and then time is gonna be stopped when I lose control over my character and not die, hopefully. So that is time.
Jeez.
Thank you.
Looking at the SRC page, it doesn't look like we hit record pace, but that's okay. We took a good shot at it. We took a good shot at it, chat.
It was a very decent run for sure.
Well, as we're watching, I don't know if this is going to be credits or ending cutscene or whatever, but as we're watching stuff, if you would like to let the good people know more about yourselves, where they can find you, if you have a Twitch, a Discord, any shout outs, we've been doing shout outs all run, but anything and everything, now's your time.
Yeah, so first things first, I guess you can find me on Tenders on Twitch. Call me Tendy, call me Tenders, doesn't really matter. Call me Fries and Chicken, I don't mind anything. But yeah, I want to say thank you to everybody at GDQ for helping me out and setting this up. Without you, this couldn't have happened. Thank you, Gulch, for coming on to commentary with me, even though it was kind of late and, you know, we didn't have much time to prepare anything. I want to say thank you to everybody who helped me route, who helped in terms of speedrunning. It would just help me in terms of being a wonderful community in general, because this has only basically been my first year ever doing this. So everybody's been really nice, and yeah, thank you to Hekigan as well, especially for making the ASL and the Jeep ride at the start. Super helpful. Yeah, that was about it from me. I don't know if Gulch has anything left to say.
Yeah, no, just thanks for having me, Tenders. Definitely follow Tenders on Twitch. Amazing speedrunner. Speedruns a bunch of different FPS games.
Which you can never publish.
And follow
Yeah,
Gulch
thank
as
you.
well.
James,
Just saying. He's a treasure, literally.
publish your stories.
Thank you.
Literally. Thank you so much for being here. Really enjoyed having you on. That was an incredible game. We were talking about it during the break. I especially liked the minecart section. The physics there were very impressive. We're going to take a quick break as we get set up for our next round. We do have Control Any Percent coming up after this. I'm really excited for that one. We're going to find more artifacts and other similar things. While we are on break, I do want to tell you about Black in a Flash, which is a community that uplifts and connects black speedrunners of all levels, hosting special events throughout the year to raise money for charity and celebrate black voices in the speedrunning scene. We did just recently have some events, and we have some more events coming up in the near future, so you can learn more at gdq.gg/BAF or and mods beat me again, BAF in Twitch chat to learn more. I think the delay is a little different when we're Discord versus OBS, but mods got my number today. So we will be back in just a few minutes with Control Any Percent. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Perilous Paths here on GDQ Hotfix. As always, we focus on challenging and adventurous speedruns. My name is Cutie. We are in the middle of our show and setting up for Control Any Percent, which I am super excited for. And we have legendary runners. Alakai will tell you differently, but legendary runner Alakai and Ashley, oh by the way. So whenever you two are ready, give us a quick little introduction. Tell us about yourselves, what we can expect to see, and then whenever you're ready, give us a countdown, we can get into it.
Hello, I'm Alakai. I started speedrunning this year, and this has become my second game, and probably one of my favorite, actually. This run is very dense with tricks, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yep, I'm Ashley930, by the way. I'm the current world record holder for this run, and just to set the record straight, you didn't run any percent till after you saw my SGDQ run, right?
Yep.
So this is like a full circle thing. He started by watching me, and now I'm here to cheer on my boy. So I'm really excited to get into this.
So the run's going to start after we skip the initial cutscene when we gain control of Jesse, and I guess let's get ready to go in hold on. In 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck, have fun.
So this is Control Any Percent. We play as a character named Jesse Faden, who has come to New York City to find her long-lost brother Dylan. That has been like 17 years since we've seen him. He kind of got captured by the FBC, which is the Federal Bureau of Control, and yeah, we've made our way to New York City by a resonance in our head that told us to come here to find him. And yeah, now we're just going to make our way into the director's office where we can find our first object of power, which the object of powers act as like abilities that Jesse gets as we play through the game.
Yeah, this game is very heavily inspired by like the SCP, secure, contain, protect, sort of franchise, I suppose. And objects of power are basically like SCPs in this universe. Jesse is going to pick up our first object of power here, which is actually a gun, and by picking up the gun, we have now become the director. Anytime we pick up an object of power, it takes us into the astral plane here, and that is basically like a tutorial realm, and this is where we get acquainted with our basic combat mechanics. So right off the gate, you're going to notice we have a telekinetic melee ability. This is actually going to be very useful in the early game, as each melee attack does about half HP on the enemies that we start out fighting. And then now we have our gun, and you'll notice that our gun has an ammo bar at the bottom. So it is infinite ammo, but it has a limited ammo pool that has to regenerate after a few seconds. So you'll notice that we're going to try and balance out using our gun and melee abilities so we can kill these guys as quickly as possible. And then right here, after we kill this enemy, we're going to cock our camera to the front, just like this, and this is to manipulate the spawns. We can manipulate pretty much every enemy spawns based on where the camera is and where it's pointed. So you're gonna see that coming up just after these first enemies. So this is our introduction to the main kind of antagonists through the game. They're called the Hiss. They're basically it's basically like a sound resonance that is possessing the workers of the FBC. So we have to purify them. So right there, you saw that he was pointing the camera back whenever he came in here, and that's so these guys spawn by the door here. He also swung very far out to the right, and that's so the second wave spawns just like this. And then we're going to clean up these last two that always spawn by the door. Very nicely done. And then this room is kind of a tricky one. We're going to try and shoot this guy in the back left here. Okay, we almost got him. Going to finish him off as we drop down here. We're basically trying to clean up all around the edge before this mini boss in the center spawns. This casually is probably like the first big difficulty spike, but thanks to melee we can kind of stun lock him and then just melt him with headshots. Very nicely done.
Got a little dicey there.
Yeah, just a little bit. You did it. You did it beautifully. Yeah, the weapon is not the most accurate gun ever in video games. We kind of have to struggle a lot with the like kind of weapon and accuracy spread that's
bloom
present
of
in this
it,
game.
yeah. It's pretty awful.
We do use the in-game aim assist setting, which kind of magnets the bullets onto the target, but it's still kind of very very dicey sometimes. So here we're cleansing the first of what's called a control points. Control points are basically going to be our bonfires, like in Dark Souls. Every time we quit out, we are going to see quit to menu in a second here. It'll take us back to the last checkpoint. And we're going to be doing this pretty much throughout the entire run just to save on some walking. So because we're in the future compared to when this game came out, our load times are fast enough that quitting the menu here is faster than just running back. Back there, we were introduced to Emily Pope. She's basically going to be our second-hand woman, and she's basically sending us to the communication sector to find what's called the hotline. That's going to be our second object of power here. But real quick, we're going to have more combat with some more camera manipulations. We're basically spawning these guys next to the door. These red barriers are basically our combat gates. So any time that there's one of these that we can't get past, we have to kill all the enemies before we can proceed. And then here we're taking out these enemies that are hanging up. We can do that pretty much. They like to hang up around the control point, so we kind of get early damage in whenever we can. Gonna headshot these guys and finish them off with melee. Very well done.
Ooh. So yeah, we also use a auto hotkey script too to skip cutscenes really quickly. They're kind of a pain to spam space and get through it super quick. So we are allowed to use an auto hotkey script that allows us to do that, which is why we fly through.
Yeah, that's why you see us just zipping straight through the cutscenes. Also, best sound in the game.
Bonk.
Boom.
Object of power.
Love that one. And then coming up here is actually a quote-unquote dev-intended skip. We just kind of climb up this ladder, and we are... Oh, okay. This is kind of a skill check. All right, second try. World record actually messed that up on first try, so it's nothing to feel bad about. But now, because we touched the floppy disk with nuclear launch codes, we now have the ability to launch things with our mind, because it's just how the logic in this universe sort of works. So launch is going to be basically our bread and butter for the combat throughout the rest of the game. You're going to notice that we're going to maximize our launch uses just like this. We're going to grab this to the right, swipe to the right, take out 2 enemies with 1 launch, book these guys down with the gun, and then try and clean up with another launch here at the end. Very nicely done. And then also, because, you know, this is a game with physics objects, we can use those physics objects to clip through walls. So you're going to see that here in a second. We're going to get past all these guys, kill the 1 required enemy, and then we're going to use this object to get closer to the ceiling. Going to climb onto it and then clip through straight up first try. Very well done.
Ooh, yeah.
And so this actually skips the... Oh, almost fell down.
Ooh, that was close, yeah.
That actually skips the first boss, but if he slipped down and fell there, then he would have had to fight the boss in order to proceed. But the first boss is called Tomasi, and since we skip him, we call that skip Nomasi.
I was actually a little worried about that, not gonna lie. I have had it happen in a run where I have fallen there, and usually it's a reset, but, you know.
No.
Yeah, we can't reset today, so you'd have to be fighting him.
Yeah.
Across the country, on the road, on the run, under the radar.
So now what's going on is this is the Ocean View Motel. This is kind of put in place throughout the Bureau to act kind of like as a security door, because people in the Bureau are sort of trained in the paranatural. So only people who can reason about this sort of strange dream realm are able to proceed to the high security area, is the idea. So now we have the hotline. The hotline is actually the only object of power that doesn't give us an ability in the main campaign. except it unlocks like a section in the multimedia menu, so we can like listen to tidbits, lore from thoughts from different characters in the game, but it serves no actual like gameplay purpose.
This game's lore is also like super in depth too.
Yeah,
I ended
this
up
game
having to
is-
watch a couple videos to kind of like get a grasp on it.
I don't even bother anymore. Like the game is wacky and goofy, and it's wonderful.
It is a fantastic game.
So now we're gonna quit out. We're gonna go back to the first control point, and I don't know if I mentioned earlier, but you can fast travel through any between control points. So we're gonna be using the hell out of that throughout the rest of this run. Like a lot of the routing in this game is quit outs. You're back at the control point, fast travel to wherever you need to go. So now we're telling Emily what we found. We got the hotline. We know what Trench is speaking. Trench is the previous director who we came in and found dead. And now she's sending us to go lift the lockdown because the whole building is under a lockdown since there's been like a containment breach with the hiss. So we need to go lift the lockdown to access the rest of the facility. Right there was a
good.
Yeah, that there was a very tiny trick. So the first time you interact with that menu, you get a 4-second fade out cutscene, and if you double interact with that button right during the cutscene, you can actually skip it. So you just nailed that perfectly, saved 4 whole seconds. So now here, we're actually coming into a section where casually, if you just run up to this part of the game and you're doing it as fast as we do, this part like is broken and you can't proceed normally. So we're just gonna clip out of bounds to work around that jankiness. And then we're gonna blow up this forklift because we need the center part of the forklift to clip out of bounds. This is actually like one of the easiest props to clip out of bounds, just like so. Then we're gonna do some tricky climbing here in the corner. Please don't fall.
Come on, get up there, Jesse. There we go.
There you go.
There
Okay.
we go.
If you fall there, that's actually like void out, you die. Like there's no void out fail safes, but and sometimes the climbing in this game is a little tricky for numerous reasons.
Yeah.
But now we're kind of veering off the beaten path. We're doing what's technically considered a side quest, but this is going to give us our strongest not our strongest, but our primary means of movement throughout the game. It's going to be our dash ability.
Why is kid stuff always so creepy?
I don't know the rationale for why a merry-go-round horse gives us the ability to dash, so if any war experts in the chat want to chime in on that one, you are welcome to. But then right here, we're going to go off and do a quick little skip. We're going to get stuck in the sides of these crushers and ride them up to the very top. Oh, unlucky.
A little too close.
Yeah, a little too close. The triggers on these crushers extends out a little bit further than it seems, so it's easy to get work back there, but we're going to run it back, hit it second try, no problem. And then we're going to dash straight to the end of the tutorial section. So now that we have the dash ability, this is also going to unlock a set of movement techniques that we have called wave dashing. We ripped the name right from Melee, but this is a super wave dash. We kind of are basically stacking the velocity from 2 dashes together, and then we can just preserve it by bunny hopping. The other technique that we have is regular wave dashing. I don't know if... do you use them at all?
No, I don't.
Okay, well, you won't see them, but it's another technique called wave dashing. Regular wave dashing that's like tick perfect and is actually really, really difficult to do. So you'll mostly see super wave dashing throughout this run. So anyways, right here we're gonna come back. We're gonna take this second forklift piece and clip out of bounds again.
Doesn't want to cooperate with me.
Yeah, the clipping in this game is very dependent on your ability to position the prop. Yep, very nice. Sometimes it doesn't like to cooperate, but anyways, we're coming out here. We're going to hit this trigger off of this vent. What this does is this initializes the sub-objectives for the rest of this mission, but also what it does is it allows us to just go straight to the end of this mission and just lift the lockdown without having to fix the reactor or the power plant or any of that. So we just have to clear out these guys. We upgraded our launch so they're only 1 shot after getting hit with an item. So that was why we upgraded our abilities back then. Then we're going to grab this control point and lift the lockdown.
We're gonna get energy 2 here also, because we are able to do that with a new route that we've kind of put in here to get an early ability that we wouldn't normally get until later.
Yeah,
Ooh,
this
that's unfortunate.
is. Oh, you got the black screen.
I got the lights out, feels bad.
Yeah, if you skip that one cutscene just a little bit too fast, you can be stuck with the screen faded out. So you have to quit out to clear that. But yeah, this is very new routing. Current record doesn't even have this in yet. But basically, what we're doing is we're going out and we're grabbing the next movement ability early. We're grabbing it as soon as we can. And we're doing it in this order so we can do it with energy 2, which allows us to gap much more of the tutorial section, as you'll see in a second here.
Yeah, unfortunately too, there are some areas where we can get some like random lighting breaks, but it's very random if it even happens, and unfortunately we did get one there.
It's actually an NVIDIA specific bug.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, and it's unique to this patch version. We run on the day one patch version of this game. And for whatever reason, like on newer NVIDIA cards, like newer than 10 series or whatever, it just breaks. Just completely randomly. But it usually doesn't affect gameplay. So anyways, this is the reason we grabbed Energy 2 is so we can gap this corner here, and this saves about 5 seconds. Uh-oh,
Oh no!
Unlucky. Fortunately,
Very
though, avoiding
unlucky.
out gives us our health back. You were pretty close to dying. You can actually get headshotted by these guys here, and if that happens, you can kind of be screwed.
Like right there.
Just like this. Yeah, this is gonna look a little dodgy. So cross our fingers.
Okay, didn't get touched there. Good. Oh,
Okay,
man.
very close.
Oof.
Now, in terms of health, obviously you don't seem to have a regeneration mechanic. So how do you normally go about healing in this situation?
Hitting enemies, killing enemies drops like little bobules on the ground, orbs, anything that you can pick up to get health back. But
Yeah,
in
and then
this-
normally our health comes back between quit outs as well, and anytime you interact with a control point. But usually what we're using in fights on this game is this game has one-shot protection. So as long as the screen isn't bloody red, you don't have there's no way that you can die. You're like invincible to bullets.
There we go. We made it now.
So as far as we're concerned, our health only has 2 states. We're either about to die or we're fine. But yeah, it's that one section in particular is just kind of annoying because you can get randomly headshotted and there's nothing you can really do to stop it. But it's all good. We're just gonna finish the tutorial section, come back, talk to Emily, tell her that we fixed all the problems, nothing's going wrong in the power plants, and now she's sending us off to find Marshall, who's our head of security, I think.
Yeah. I do believe so.
Now, because we do this new routing, we actually have so much ability points that we can max out health, have energy 2, we can max out launch, have energy 2, and get 1 upgrade for health. The health upgrade doesn't actually help us a whole lot. We mostly just use it so we spend the extra ability points and get 2 mod slots. And we'll talk about mods in a bit here, I'm sure. But real quick, we're just gonna go right to this next out of bounds right off the rip here. So we're gonna cross this gap and come over here. We're gonna grab this freezer, this bio freezer, and use this to clip out of bounds here. And then we're going to go do our very first shield surf in the run. We're gonna drop down, turn our shield on, dash in there. All right, we hit our first trigger. This might be good. Very nicely done. By the skin of your teeth, huh?
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that is a shield. That is what we call a shield hopping. The shield is very broken in this game. If you go to certain spots out of bounds, it like unloads the shield and then reloads the shield, and then you kind of get stuck in it. And we kind of are able to surf the shield, which is how you saw him fly through the entire map.
What a good lineup that was.
Yeah, I think you just got 5 right there, 4 or 5.
Yeah. There's still
You got
one more
You got one
somewhere.
down behind you.
He's trolling me.
He got warped. Nope.
There you
Okay,
are.
there he is.
Yeah, in this section we have to kill all of the enemies.
Yeah, and then you're gonna see us maximizing launch more. We can actually deal damage with objects as they're being pulled towards us. So that's kind of what we're aiming to do here. You had one down below. I
Oh,
saw
did I
him.
miss? Oh no, that's unfortunate. Alright, we're gonna go find him then. Take him out real quick. Then we
There you
can
go.
continue.
Yeah, I saw him, and I was hoping he would wander his way back up, but he did not.
A lot of times I've noticed that they actually wander underneath you. It's kind of frustrating when it happens.
And then just there, we picked up our first tier 2 mods. So mods, real quick, I'll just explain. We're going down, and instead of going to the elevator, we're going and taking a pretty roundabout way to get a second control point, and that is to set up a shield back to where we were and skip a big, long elevator ride.
Yeah, it skips a fight and having to listen to some dialogue and take an elevator. Looks good. Perfect. Okay.
Very nice. Yeah, as easy as he's making it look, shield is a very hard, movement technique because you're kind of at the mercy of game physics.
Rangers, let her through.
A couple of people in chat have mentioned how incredibly difficult it is to pull off that trick.
It is very hard, yeah. It took me a little bit to get used to it, but, with a little bit of practice, it does happen.
It does click eventually. To give you an idea, in order to move forward, you're pressing straight left or back to the side. It's very bizarre. So anyways, in this fight, we are basically trying to keep every enemy in front of us. And that is so the consecutive waves spawn up next to where we need to be. Very
Oh,
nicely
that was
done.
pretty clean, yeah. This is probably my worst part of this run. I'm like so bad at the combat in this room. It can be difficult for sure.
Okay, I was holding my breath because you're on red HP there.
Yep. There we go.
Very nice. Nice, we got a tier 2 dodge efficiency. So mods are random kind of perks that drop throughout your playthrough. They are random, but we know that at this point we get tier 2 mods because it's based on how many ability points you spent. So in this mission, we're looking for a couple mods specifically, and we just got one of them. It's called dodge efficiency. So it means that each dash that we do consumes less energy, and if it has the right percentage number, we actually are able to use an additional dash in our energy bar.
You must like these HRAs. Sounds like.
So now what's going on in the story is Marshall wants us to go secure the HRA machine. The HRA machine is... The HRAs are what's preventing the FPC personnel from getting infected if they haven't already. So now we found the HRA machine and we have to fix the HRA machine with a predetermined puzzle. Luckily, all the puzzles in this game have fixed solutions, so it's just a matter of memorizing the execution steps. So that's pretty much all that's going on here.
So we've done two tricks that actually haven't been explained. Ash, if you want to explain what an NCA slide is while I finish up
Yeah,
this puzzle super quick.
So as that door opened, you probably saw him just slide right into the room. Basically, if you neutral dash into any area that strips you of your abilities, you keep the speed from that dash and are able to bunny hop with it. So you can clear this entire room and more with NCA hop. It's actually very, very cool. We actually didn't know about any of this movement tech until pretty recently in this game's lifespan, and the missing piece the whole time was just not pressing movement keys. It's like letting go of W was the missing piece. It's unlocking bunny hopping.
Alright, so now we're going to make our way into Threshold, which is like one of the biggest sections here with a bunch of shields and whatnot. Oh, I don't think I want any of those. We're going to take Dash 2, and then I guess Launch.
We got the 12% dodge efficiency, which is exactly the number we want. So yeah, this is Threshold. We have since the beginning of this game's lifespan, we've called this the threshold between a good run and a bad run. like you don't know if your run is good or not until you get past this level, and that has remained true as this level is probably the hardest in almost every category, I'd say. Just because of how tech heavy it is, or long it is if you're not doing any of the glitches in like the inbounds category. So it's going to start off with the shield glide straight over to this motel. This is a required progression beat that we need. And then we're going to divert straight to... we're actually going to go all the way to the end of the mission area, and then go back in and clean up. Like, we're going to hit the progression triggers we need. So what's going on in the story is the HRA machine is broken. It needs something called Black Rock, and Jesse is being sent to find the Black Rock quarry. So right here, we're actually going straight towards the quarry, but because video games, we need to go back and hit the triggers necessary for the game to recognize that progress. And also the reason we're able to use shield on this part of the game, like from the elevator like this, is because this map is unique in that there's 2 floors of the elevator that are on the same map, so we can activate shield just like we would between control points from the elevator. So now that we're at this control point, we're going to set up shield and go back to the control room, which we got earlier. And from here, we're going to shield hop all the way over to through this room here onto the safe room. And now we're going to drop down onto the hallway. This is our second progression trigger that we need. And this actually skips... This part alone just skips a fight and talking to a character.
There is a harder trick here, but as it is very hard to get consistently, I opted to, kind of just not try. It's something
I would not say it's marathon safe.
Yeah.
I did it at GDQ and messed it up once and went over estimate, so...
Very quick kill there on that invisible enemy using the pull-through mechanic of the launch.
And then this is the second trigger, so once we've hit that, we quit out again. And then we're gonna have to fast travel away, set shield back up, and go hit our final progression trigger that we need. Excuse me. So then final trigger is actually, we actually found out recently we can hit it from out of bounds, just like this. It's supposed to be tied to that door, to a door that we normally go through. And now we've hit that, and we're gonna shield one last time to the quarry, and go all the way to the very end of the map.
Make our way to the end of Threshold.
And seeing these enemies spawn in that exact pattern is how we know for sure that we've hit every trigger that we need to.
So yeah, we got to pick up these power cubes here, launch them at this wall, so we can activate the button. Cube. I did not, you're right.
Yeah, unfortunately, it grabbing this cube in particular sometimes like highlights off of it, and we'll just grab a chip off of the wall or something like that. It's a little annoying, but it's just something you have to keep in mind.
So now that we blew the wall up, we finally get this prism that Marshall wanted us to grab, so we're gonna bring this back to her, and she's gonna finally tell us where our brother has been kept.
Yeah, the whole reason we're here. And everyone around us has just been feeding us fetch quests.
Pretty much, yeah.
Situation report. All sectors.
Alright, so now Marshall's finally told us where our brother is. He is being kept in the containment sector, where we are now going to make our way to, where we can do some more fun clip outs and whatnot. Couple fights, couple clip outs.
Gonna wave dash past these enemies. This is a completely optional fight area, but we do have to kill the enemies around this control point here.
Oh, just barely missed the second guy. You can line that up to where you actually can hit both of them, but we just slightly missed it.
It's really hard to pull off.
pretty clean, yep.
And we got its tier 2 launch efficiency to complement our tier 2 dodge.
Oh, yeah, we did. That'll go very well for an upcoming boss fight. So we'll grab that.
Gonna also upgrade to energy 4 here, and that's for a trick coming up. Where we actually need every single dash in that energy 4 bar.
Alright, I'm gonna focus here.
Yep, so this game has a glitch called a Noom. Basically, if you mantle on something out of bounds, that's like kind of invalid geometry, it'll just warp you to 000 coordinate. But you get stopped at whatever's along the way, just like that. There was a Noom. We're gonna Noom there, climb off, shield up, go under these stairs, and then try and fly through this door trigger. Alright, that looked good. We're gonna come up and over to the right a little bit for safety. And then we're going to make sure that the floor below us is solid, and then we're going to drop right down. So the unfortunate thing about this is we don't know exactly if we've hit every trigger until the next step here, which is coming up. So we're going to fast travel back to logistics to set shield back up to the Panopticon. And then we're going to shield hop all the way to the over to the elevator here, because there's a trigger inside at the top of the elevator we need to hit. And then we're going to fly over to the bridge, and beautiful. We know that we hit everything now because the TV is here. So we're going to walk into this cutscene, quit out immediately, and then we're going to shield straight up to our next boss fight, which his AI is going to be completely wigged out. I don't know exactly why this happens. It has something to do with coming up into this room from the floor, because if you teleport straight into the room with Cheat Engine or whatever, the fight works as intended, but something about flying up the floor like this busts the AI. Also nice disco lights.
This was an unfortunate room to get disco lights in, because we are in this room for quite some time.
Well, luckily they went away as soon as everything turned red. So yeah, his AI is completely busted. So he's just hanging up there like a dead fish. So we are able to just focus on the ads and just pump round after round into his head.
Oh, got a ghost launch there.
Couple bars. Very well done. That was a very fast Salvador fight. And then now, by touching the TV, we have the ability to fly, and this pretty much completes our trifecta of out-of-bounds movement options, because we can now just go wherever we want to in the game. Another thing that the levitate ability actually does is it keeps us from dying when we're shield fighting, because when you're flying with shield, you can go into a free fall and then either hit a part of the map or hit the shield itself and take fall damage, and that doesn't happen anymore now that we have levitate.
It's options. Oh, I turned tutorials on. No.
Oh no! Yeah, you need to know how to play the game, right?
Of course.
Would we still get tutorials this far into the game?
I think it would tell you about flying, but you forgot shield. There you go.
Yeah, forgot what I was doing there for a second.
Yeah, the tutorials aren't even like that intrusive. They just don't go away if you don't go where the game wants you to go. So like, when you start the game, it tells you press WASD to move around, and that just stays up until you do the first quit out. So that's why we all opt to just leave them off. So now that we've killed Salvador, we go to the very end to find Dylan's cell, and Dylan and all the craziness has walked out of his containment and gone all the way back to Central Executive. Nobody saw him doing this or stopped him, but that's neither here nor there.
So we're gonna do another. This is a bit of a different prop clip here, where we can actually use levitate to get up high to get through an object here. So let's see if there we go. Looks good.
Yeah, and then there's a false ceiling right there, and then it goes away on the second try. And then this is the longest cutscene in the game, even with the scroll wheel. So much dialogue.
It definitely takes a while. Yep.
So now Dylan is telling us to go back to the containment sector and look at what the Bureau had been keeping track of on us like throughout our lives, because they've been keeping tabs on Jesse and Dylan since the event that happened to them when they were kids. Now, casually, this is the longest level in the game because it's very war expedition heavy, or exposition heavy rather. But we're just gonna skip through all of it. We're gonna hit 4 triggers. This is the first trigger. Just went straight through it, and then we're gonna hit this second trigger. We're gonna drop the shield over the light. We're gonna hit this trigger, and then there's a trigger along this hallway. I'm pretty sure that we just happened to hit when doing this out of bounds pathing. Then we're gonna go hit this last trigger here. It's gonna be right over these lights. Gonna land on them, come back up, and then we're gonna go right to the very end of the mission. This is the last fight, and we have the hiss orbs spawn in, so we know that we hit everything first try. So that was beautiful. Very well done.
There was a faster version of it. It also is one of the hardest tricks in the run, but I kind of decided to go with like a variation that I like to do. Makes it just a touch easier.
Yeah, the only way to optimize that is to just do shield the whole way through, but it's insanely hard to control your height with shield, so that's very well done. This is also the part of the game where we are severely underleveled, because the game is balanced around you exploring, doing side quests, finding extra mods to get upgrades and stuff, and we just don't do any of that. So all these enemies hit like absolute trucks. So you have to play very well or suffer the consequences.
Yeah, and a death here would result in another shield glide to get back to here.
Very well done. That was a very good fight.
That was clean, yeah.
Now we have to wait for the mission to clear. If you go out too early, you have to come all the way back and use the computer terminal again.
I've definitely done that in runs for sure.
And so now we were supposed to find the slide protector in there, but it had been moved by the Bureau. So now we're going to go to where they supposedly moved it, but it's locked behind another door, kind of like the Ocean View Motel. But we need an actual key to get through this sort of lock. This isn't the lock, by the way. That was very beautifully done. Well done. Yeah, you can go straight through that door and then have to go back through the door to like get the trigger you need to be able to interact with this thing. We're gonna go ahead and grab
ground slam. Yep, I'm gonna need
ground slam. And now we're going straight to the end of this mission once again. Do you want me to time this, or are you just gonna take note?
I'll take a note of it.
Okay.
If you want to time it too, just in case I forget, because I am a little forgetful here sometimes. Oh, that is unfortunate. That's fine though. Maybe that drops super early.
Yikes. Oh, this is fine. You can still make it. I'll just start floating down now. Yeah, usually we would fly all the way over to where he's about to pop out right now, but this area is very strange, and if you spam jump too much with shield, Jesse will just mantle on like weird geometry and kick you out of the shield. So we're gonna start a timer right here. So whenever we hit that button, a timer starts for 90 seconds. We're basically waiting 90 seconds, so a trigger at the very end between these pillars activates. It's not active till 90 seconds after you press that button. So I started a timer over here. I'm sure Ali has taken note of his time.
33:29.
How's your pace looking?
It's looking pretty good. We're a little behind, but to be expected with a couple mistakes.
Yeah, nothing bad has happened this run except for the one death. This has been a really solid run.
Yeah, unfortunately here.
Spin for us.
It has been asking if I'm gonna spin. Okay, we can spin. Come on.
Yeah,
I cut you off with that, but
no,
it
it's
seemed
perfectly
in point.
fine.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's absolutely nothing else to do at this part of the run except wait. So this is like the low light of the run for me.
I think it's a low light of the run for most of us. I mean, it's 90 seconds. We kind of have to just sit here and wait.
I mean, that seems like as good a time as any to tell people about Frame Fatales, which is a community of women and femmes who share a passion for speedrunning, gaming, and charity. In addition to their 2 flagship events, they host activities year-round in their community Discord like Game of the Month and Randomizers events. So type !FF in chat to learn more and get involved.
So yeah, we have to fly out there to hit a trigger to get this area to spawn the way that it is, which is the whole reason we have to wait 90 seconds also. It's just easier to wait 90 seconds on this side versus having to kind of try and time the gap. We can just 4 dashes out, turn around, come back, and then this is exactly how we want it to be.
Yeah, there's also nothing to gain by like staying at the other side and fighting, unfortunately. Like this game doesn't have like experience points in the conventional like sense of the word. So now the key, we're just gonna completely discard it. We're not gonna use it in this playthrough because this part of the game is like one of the coolest moments in gaming for me, and we're gonna skip completely past it. Save that for your casual playthrough. So if you think this game looks cool, it's actually on sale right now for like $3. This game is well worth $3 and way more. So this game looks cool. Play it.
This game is awesome. I'm actually very glad that I decided I was going to start running this game.
Yeah, this game both got me into speedrunning and it got me back into single-player story games because like I was not interested in them before this.
For reference, chat, if you haven't played this game, the section they just skipped is like incredible. It gave me goosebumps when I played it. There's music. It's ridiculous.
It's got the best song in the game.
Yep. But in classic Control fashion, we have just flown completely past it, and we're setting up probably the biggest sequence break in the run. So what this is going to look like is we're setting up shield to this area, and we're going to go out and back over this big room, and we're going to pull off these bolts off of this door. This is going to start a cutscene, but since we're not at the intended progression state, it's going to be kind of like half glitched. So we're going to set ourselves up right here. We're going to pull off this far bolts first. Yep, and pull off the rest just like that. Now our HUD has gone away because, you know, we're kind of in this weird, like, sort of glitched state. We're going to make our way over to these TVs that we can interact with out of bounds. And then that's going to warp us back inbounds. Just like that. And then we're going to go up, and then the cutscene is going to start immediately when we approach this door. And this is a cutscene we can't skip. If you skip this, then the trick doesn't work. We're going to let this cutscene play out. It'll stop prematurely, and then after it stops, we quit out. And what this does is this skips the first phase of this big sort of like... This is kind of like the climactic battle, as it were. And we just skip like the first half of it.
And yeah, since we skipped the first half and quit out, we have to actually set up another shield glide to get back into the room to be able to continue the rest of this quest.
Yeah, so this is unfortunately like a huge, I wouldn't really say gatekeep, but I always go into this expecting to save or lose 30 seconds because it's just like this is a toss-up pretty much. I'd say this first one is a 50-50 chance of you getting off scot-free. Okay. Unfortunate.
Very, oh boy.
Yeah, and as mentioned before, we're severely underleveled, so all these enemies hit like a truck. So we're
gonna take this a little safe.
Yeah, I was gonna try and take out these flyers before we get back on, just to play it extra safe. Nice. Yeah, and that's why I always expect to lose 20 seconds.
Don't shoot me with a rocket. Don't shoot me with a rocket.
Yeah, there's actually cracks in the wall to the right, and they can shoot rockets straight through them, and it looks like they come through the wall. Really sad when that happened.
Making our way to the second beacon here. We're gonna kill the sniper guy because he has a direct line. If we were to try and hit the beacon, there's gonna be one guy there that has a pretty good line on us, so...
We're gonna stick it and pray.
Yeah. And this last beacon, everybody says is free, but I've definitely died here before.
Oh, it's free. I've never died here before.
Uh-huh. I've had a guy spawn like right next to me and just had straight line, shot me and killed me. It was fantastic.
You really have seen the worst this game has to offer.
I sure have, yep.
And just like that, the game is not over. Yeah, so this is a total credits fake out. We're not even gonna pretend, right?
Oh man, we finished the run.
Yeah, we finished the run. That was a great job, dude. Now, what's happening in the story is we lost, and the hits are getting into Jesse's head. So they start rolling the credits, and then the credits start to glitch out, and then we're gonna wake up in Jesse's nightmare.
Yeah, things are gonna get weird in these credits. This actually did get me on my casual playthrough. I was like, oh man, I finished the game, this is great. And so I'm sitting here watching, and I'm like, oh wait, what is happening?
I remember casually, I all I had to say was, "There's no way they end the game like that."
And then the true ending comes to be.
Can you imagine if this next section was like the Modern Warfare 2 museum? Like that, like this actually was the ending, and then the next section was just an endless, never-ending minigame.
Oh, man, I don't think I could imagine that.
Yeah, so we're gonna wake up in Jesse's nightmare, which is being an unpaid intern, and we have to do 3 sets of tasks. On this first loop, we have to do 2 sets of 1 task. Optimally, you do the scanner because with optimal timing, the scanner actually does work out to both be faster and you're closer to where you need to be. But it is incredibly annoying to time the interactions properly, so many runners just opt to do the coffee cups because it only loses like 2 seconds.
Coffee cups also can be kind of annoying sometimes because on 1.0, the despawning...
It cancels the interaction.
Yeah, the despawning of a cup can actually cancel the pickup of a next one, which can definitely lose a ton of time. But cups for life.
Cups for life, cup gang. So now we're grabbing the mail, we're taking it to the director, and the janitor from the beginning of the game is the one who believed in us the whole time.
The whole time.
Yeah,
I
so
think it's been...
Go ahead.
I think it's been stated in the game that Ati is some sort of god somewhere, and he's just, you know, a janitor at the FBC, and nobody really knows where. He was like... The lore video I watched said that he was, like, around since the beginning of the FBC being built.
I thought Octi was a god, if I remember correctly.
I do believe he is, yes. Best character in this game, though.
I also remember the oldest house was like, it was always a place that they found, and it always took on the appearance of whatever was around it, or something like that. It was like some Doctor Who's hardest stuff.
This is all inside my head.
Definitely some fun stuff.
Yeah, this game's lore goes deep. Anyways, so we're on the 3rd loop. This game has a narrative theme of the rule of 3s. You'll notice that, you know, we do 3 interactions in a lot of places. We do 3 motels in the run, and we do 3 loops of whatever this is. And this is all about Jessie coming to realize who she is and what she's capable of. So this is her coming to accept that she is the director and she can basically overcome the enemy. If I remember
Insert
right.
copy pasta here. Get to listen to the chant that's been going on the entire game that, you know, we kind of just blow past.
And how are we feeling about the recently announced sequel to Control? Do we think it sounds good? We might run it. Any ideas there?
I'm undecided right now.
I'm excited. I have no doubt it's going to be a cool game. I am cautiously optimistic about how good of a speedrun it will be, because was like a very big steep departure from this gameplay wise. But I mean, I saw Devil May Cry, you know, melee combos in it. So I mean, I'm on board. I'll run it in at least some form for sure.
I'm still undecided. I'm not too fond of the whole 180 flip of, like, you know, shooter to melee, but I'll play it definitely.
Yeah, like this game has a very unique quality with its combat and the shooter aspect, where it always feels fresh, even though I've been running it for 5 years. Like no fight ever feels exactly like another fight. So we'll see if that manifests in the new game. So it'll be interesting for sure. But
It's
anyways,
interesting oh, sorry.
oh, this is just the final skip of the run. We're basically supposed to be fighting across all 3 of these islands, and we're skipping through to the very last one. And then once this comes up, we're gonna take off from it and go through a hole in the collision around Dylan. So time is gonna be coming up here in about a minute. So we're gonna fly up from the tippy top here, dash 3 times. Gonna wait for it to refill a little bit, and then we're gonna dash and take it all the way home.
Yep, time is going to be coming up as soon as I skip the Dylan cutscene. I'll call it.
It's on the interaction.
Is it on? Okay.
Yep.
And time.
Jeez.
Ooh.
Well, as
don't
we
think-
watch the real ending or real cutscene, whatever is coming up here, now's a great time to tell people, where they can find more about you. If you have a community or Discord, Ashley, you might have something coming up soon you want to talk about. Anything and everything, now is a good time to do it.
Well, I can be found on Twitch at twitch.tv/Alake. I do speedrunning and just anything I want, really. Casual playthroughs, speedruns. Probably continue this game for a little bit longer.
Stardew Valley is in your future, right? Or is it Pokemon?
Maybe.
I don't know.
I think it was Pokemon, yeah.
Okay,
Stardew Valley was not.
I definitely want to give a shout out to the Control Speedrun community. I see some familiar faces in the chat here. They are such a lovely group of people, and we try to be as accepting and welcoming as possible, especially to anyone who's interested in the game. So if this does look like a cool game that you might want to learn, don't hesitate. Just join the Discord and ask around. I myself,
Yeah.
I think there's some speedrun marathon coming up here on this channel in a couple days. But no, I'm going to be running Stellar Blade a week from Friday at 5 a.m. Eastern. So that's going to be right here on the Game Zone Quick channel. So I'm very excited to show that run off.
I do want to give one shout out to Ash, actually, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have ran this category. He pestered me for a couple months of running inbounds to finally get into the any percent, the real category in this game. And I'm glad I did. It brought me here. I got to meet a bunch of wonderful people. And yeah. I think that's all I have.
Yeah, I'll bounce that back to you. I'm super proud of my boy here. This is his very first marathon run, and I think he absolutely killed it. So great job, my friend.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you both so much for being here, for showcasing all that. It was a fantastic run. I love how visually distinct Control is, in the sense that it just looks really cool. And obviously all the glitches and everything that go into it. That is it for us here at Perilous Paths, not only for today, but for all of the year. Actually. So thank you so much, everyone who has been hanging out with us over the past year in 2025. I really do appreciate it. I want to give a big shout out to everyone who's been on the show today. So that is Tenders, Gulch2, Alakai, and Ashley. I want to also say to everyone out there, wherever you are, whenever you are, whatever you celebrate, I hope you're having a wonderful holiday season. I hope you have a happy, safe New Year's, which is coming up in a couple of days. And shout outs to GDQ 2026, which will be happening next week. It's crazy to think that it is so close, and I'm definitely going to be keeping my eye on that. So hopefully we'll see all of you back here real soon, but don't go anywhere. We still have a whole nother show, The Scenic Route, hosted by Oz. It's going to be fantastic. We're going to have some Truck Simulator. We're going to have some Clair Obscure. It's going to be amazing. We'll be back in just a few minutes while they get set up. But thank you all so much for being here, and I hope you have a wonderful week and Happy New Year's.